Welcome back to High Mileage Need Love To. Listen, I know why you're here, brother. I was on the can, dropping one off at the pool while getting my world update from my favorite news network, Fox News. Bam! What did I see? I'll tell you what I saw. American car sales are down. And as a goddamn American immigrant, I gotta do my part to try and fix it. Because like good tax-paying immigrants do, we fix stuff. Now, I can't afford a new American car because of, well, you know, college debt, unaffordable cost of living, my retirement portfolio is in the can, and auto manufacturer prices and collusion and stuff. I mean, you can't find anything below $50K these days. Just your typical run-of-the-mill American dream stuff. But damn it, when I hear America isn't number one in something besides education, it makes my blood boil. So, I went and I grabbed my MacBook, and I tried to write this on there, but my card bounced on my Microsoft Office 360 subscription, and I couldn't use Word. So I had to grab my IBM laptop where I still own Microsoft Word 1995, and I wrote this down. This is the strong, reliable American cars under 5K. All right, here we go. Grab your big gulp, grab a Slim Jim, and sit down. It's going to be a long video because I really need the ad revenue to make up for the sick day I had to take to shoot this. I had to write down some notes because my memory's not as good as it used to be. But we're going to be starting off with General Motors. That's GM for those of you who didn't know. Good, strong American brand. We're looking at the GMs that have the 3.8-liter V6 and the 4-speed automatic transmission because you can't go wrong with either one of those things. All right, first up, we're going to be looking at the 1997 to 2005 Buick Park Avenue. My buddy's dad had one of these in 2002, and now he owns it. The kind of car you get from your grandparents when they buy their first Cadillac and move down to Florida. Really good car, decent space, easy to drive. We're going to put this guy in the A tier. It's got good power, it's pretty reliable, easy to work on, and pretty cheap. B tier. B tier. It's not a looker. Next up, we're going to be looking at the Buick Rivera. It's pretty much a two-door Park Avenue. The matching Buick you buy for your wife, Mary Elizabeth, also in beige, before she pops out your Legacy and gets promoted to an Oldsmobile Silhouette. We're sticking this in B tier, because the name ain't American enough. Alright, next up is 1992 to 1995, and then 2000 to 2005 Buick LeSabre. If the Park Avenue was vanilla and the Rivera was strawberry, the LeSabre is Neapolitan. It's a great car, comes in the 3.8 V6 with the 4-speed, pretty much indestructible, and drives like a Cadillac pretty much, but it's not a Cadillac. I'm going to put this one in A tier because of the bad A name. If George Washington had a driver's license, he'd own a Buick. And that Buick would be none other than the Roadmaster, or the Roadmaster Estate. The Roadmaster Estate and the Buick Roadmaster. As American as it gets. Big boy V8, soft seats, enough room to fit all the Revolutionary boys in their muskets. Smooth enough to sip a cup of tea in. Make sure the transmission shift's good. If it wasn't beat down, it'll last until the fuel pump goes out. But once you fix that, it'll last until it goes out again. Buick Roadmaster and Buick Roadmaster Estate gets dumped S tier. Great cars, great it's a Corvette for the working man. If you can afford the Estate or the Estate wagon, you're going to have a good time. Also look at the Chevy Capri. Same car, Chevy badge. Moving on to Chevy, we're going to be looking at the 1995 to 2005 Chevy Impala. Alright, another version of the GM sedans. 3.8 liter, 4-speed. You don't want to get the supercharged one. Just they're not going to last. Alright, stick to the naturally aspirated 3.8 liter with the 4-speed. An American tool to serve a purpose. So not a porpoise, to serve a purpose. The kind of car divorced middle-class moms get in their half of the settlement. C tier. Not because it's worse than the Buicks, but because they're always driven by people who can't park or don't know what an oil change is. Try and avoid them. The next car we're going to be looking at is 94 to 96 Chevy Impala SS. Now, if you can find one for under $5,000, it's probably beat down and not worth your time. But if somehow one of your family members has one and they say, hey, you want my Buick Impala? You say, is it an SS? And they say yes, you better nab that thing because it's going in the S tier. All right, Moving on to another great GM brand, that's going to be Pontiac. The 97 to 2003 Pontiac Grand Prix. It's pretty much an Impala. We're still talking about the 3.8 naturally aspirated, not the supercharged. A Malibu with a Pontiac badge. The only difference is these are 50-50 with body damage and maintenance history. Also, they look way better. What middle-class dads get in their divorce settlements. C tier. Because nobody born after 2005 knows what a Pontiac is. Alright, we're going to be moving on to the Ford. And when we say Ford, we think Panther bodies. What's a Panther body? It's that car that pulled you over when you were 18. Any Panther body you look at, you just avoid the 2003 model. They had some serious rear end failures. So, pretty much any year from 98 to 2011. We're going to go over those, but do not buy a 2003. Alright, first up, we're going to be looking at the Crown Vic. 98 to 2011. Once again, not including the 2003. Government loves low bidder contracts, and they really hit the jackpot with the Crown Vic. This thing is a real workhorse, alright? But don't take my word for it. Just look at all the YouTube reviews out there. The official car of lonely middle-aged men impersonating an officer. A tier. Once again, in the Panther bodies, we're going to be looking at the Grand Marquis and the Lincoln Town Car. Built on the same platform, two different levels of comfort. We're going to start with the Grand Marquis, 95 to 2011. Once again, don't buy the 2003. The higher trim of the Crown Vic. For dentists, Wall Street hedge fund managers, except now you'll be buying them from Jewish grandmothers and retired sanitation workers because, well, they value comfort over, will it drive when it snows like it did that one time 8 years ago? Yeah, Marcus, it will. Is going to go in the A tier for the Grand Marquis and the S tier for the Lincoln Town Car because it came with air suspension in the rear and the ride is incredible. When I immigrated to the United States in 99, my father picked us up in a 1998 Lincoln Town Car, and I will never forget it with the ashtrays in the doors. It blew my mind. Ashtrays in the doors. Why? It didn't have that in my third world country. But now I'm American, and now I got ashtrays in my doors. Next, we're going to be looking at some Mopar cars. If there's one thing Chrysler does right, it's finding companies to buy its brand when it files for bankruptcies. And if there's one thing you can count on, it's picking up a great car for cheap because owners are just as broke as you are. We're starting it off with the 2006 to 2016 Chrysler 300. Revived after Mercedes bought Chrysler in 1998 and became Daimler Chrysler. Now, they couldn't call it the 300C like it was called back then because Mercedes, you know how they do their C300, S500, all those German names. So they just went straight out with the name 300. It's a great car. It came in a V6 or a V8. V8 is the granddaddy 5.7 liter Hemi. Great motor. Don't let the lifter failure scare you because these things will still take a licking and keep on ticking. The poor man's Mercedes E-Class. We're going to stick this in the A tier because they're dirt cheap and you don't really have to fix them because they're broken no matter what. Alright, next we're going to be looking at the Dodge Neons. Now, the best years for the Dodge Neons, arguably, are the 2000 to 2001. Load up your Need for Speed, because this is a good one. Except, not really, because the only Neon you're going to be looking at is probably going to be the clapped-out cheap one, with rocker and quarter panel / dogleg rust, but it will still run. It'll still run. The kind of cars meth dealers drive, because meth dealers know sometimes you got to do whatever it takes to get to that next high. Except for you, it's the next minimum wage shift at Dollar Tree. C tier. Because it's shaped like an Advil pill. Next, we're going to be looking at one of my favorites, and that's the Dodge Charger. Specifically, 2006 to 2017. Now to clarify, the 2014s and up are pretty rare in the sub $8,000 market, but they are out there, especially the police package. It's pretty much a Chrysler 300 we mentioned earlier. If you want the V8 all-wheel drive, you got to get the police package. 2006 to 2013, A tier. Looks like a true American muscle car. Get the 5.7 with it, you get a Scat Pack or something, you can find one for under $5,000. Most likely it's going to be the V6, but hey, you might get lucky and get that V8. Last but not least, we've got the 2014 and up Dodge Charger. Chrysler stepped it up with the design in the interior, the exterior. This Charger is an icon. It's going to be sought after for a very long time. If you can find one under 5K, if you can find one slightly above 5K, maybe you talk them down to 5K, use some of those negotiating skills we talked about before, you're going to have a great car. It's a phenomenal car. Especially if you get the police package with the V8 and the Mercedes 5-speed transmission. It's a bulletproof combo as long as your lifters don't fail and you ruin your camshaft. S tier. Well, that's it, brother. I hope you learned something. I hope now you know what cars to look out for on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe set some bookmarks or whatever. And I hope this helps you get your next car. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button and the bell notification so you can see when the next video is coming out. And watch those ads, all right? It helps me quite a lot. Awesome. Take care. God bless America, everybody.